Funny stuff. Yeah, Marno, funny. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the role of humor in our mental health and the role that humor has played in my recovery. Finding the humor in situations can be a really powerful tool. I've experienced to be one of the best ways that I cope with hardship in my own recovery. And when I'm deep in my eating disorder, I lose my sense of humor because I just don't have the mental capacity to even think of or observe funny things, which is weird because the absurdity of the eating disorder is funny enough, not to undermine how serious it can be, but it can be pretty hilarious too. All these arbitrary rules and irrational thoughts that make no sense. Finding the full ridiculousness of them helps a lot in decreasing their hold on you. It's like in Harry Potter with the Bogart. The way you get rid of it is you make it. Oh my god. The way you get rid of it is by making it turn into something ridiculous and laughing at it. It can't scare you then. So it's kind of the same principle with the eating disorder. It can't scare you if you make it something ridiculous. Humor, specifically laughter, has been proven to benefit your mental health in a multitude of ways. In the short term, actually like utilizing the muscles that make you smile and laugh, release endorphins that make you feel better pretty much instantaneously. It's also a form of exercise for these muscles, strengthening them and making it easier for you to use them in the future. So who doesn't love that? I mean, you want to build up those laughter muscles, those smiling muscles, and get them really ready to be used, and they'll be used more. Laughter is also a great way to relieve tension, both in the air, like in the moment, and within your body as well. That's kind of the icebreaker principle of it. It's like bringing in something that makes people laugh, kind of cuts through the iciness of the room when things are hard or awkward or challenging, or there's like some sort of adversity there. Laughter kind of cuts through that. In the longer term, laughing often increases your enjoyment of life and can even make you live longer because it relieves stress and tension, like I said before, but just building that up over time can actually extend your life. So that's pretty rad. This isn't a revolutionary concept. It can be traced back to some of the great ancient thinkers all the way up to modern psychology studies. As fascinated as the human race is with death and doom and gloom and all of that, we are also highly interested in exploring what makes us laugh and why it does. So there's been studies in that for centuries, which is really cool. When I was in treatment, we turned to humor as a coping mechanism really often. It wasn't a therapy group or anything, but it was an organic thing that came out of the shared experience that we had together as patients. We dressed weird, did our hair weird, gave ourselves cornrows, made up table games, gave members of the staff ridiculous nicknames, and generally just kind of laughed at ourselves and our situation and being locked up. That was like a really ridiculous way of saying what our experience was. It's funny to a degree to think about. We were adults that acted like children, and I mean that in both good ways and in some bad ways. We threw some tantrums for sure. But that's not to say that treatment wasn't the hardest thing I've ever had to endure, but we were able to see the funny side of things, and it's that aspect that sticks with me the most and keeps me going. Those are the times that I remember the most. There are some forms of humor that can be problematic, though. The goal of humor shouldn't be to tear yourself or someone else down, and that can be overall detrimental. You can laugh at yourself and your situation without making a comment about your worth as a person. Self-deprecation is a really dangerous place to live because of all the shame and judgment that also lives there. Like, for example, the more you say that you're a piece of shit, even if you say it jokingly, the more that you and others will believe that. If you have a hard time finding the humor in your predicament, maybe start with something random and unrelated, kind of like escape humor. Find funny and external things first. Things like memes and sitcoms and funny animal compilation videos. Things that are universally basically guaranteed to bring a smile to your face. I call these low stakes funnies or low hanging fruit funnies. And it's okay if these are the only things that feel accessible to you. Maybe finding situational humor feels impossible, and that's okay. Like, that should be validated. Humor isn't meant to invalidate a feeling or an experience. Something can be really hard and still have a little glimmer of hilarity in it. So don't be afraid to laugh. Laugh at yourself without judgment. Laugh at your situation without invalidating it. Don't be afraid that people will just assume that you're cured because you cracked a smile. And don't be afraid to fake it till you make it if you have to. If you need to fake smile or fake laugh, do it, because it'll trick your brain into releasing those endorphins that make you feel better, and that will relieve some of the tension and despair. And I promise it'll get easier next time, and eventually you won't have to fake it. So get out there and laugh.